Linda Bergeron, 2352 South Coffin Avenue. Our system of government was actually created for the preservation of property rights. That's the purpose of government. John Adams said, property must be secured or liberty cannot exist. It's very, very important. And I'd like you all to soften your hearts a little bit this evening and realize that you are put in office to represent the property rights of the individual and to secure those rights. I really believe that that is the duty of the county commission. I firmly believe that. I would also like all of you to have this book, The Law. I think it's very, very important that you understand the purpose of government. Just like that.
Right there.
I admire Dana and Judy this evening for their understanding of the purpose of the people in government. We are founded upon a government of we the people. And when we realize that the people need to communicate with the government for the government to represent the people, I think that that is extremely important. The way they've stood up this evening and communicated with you all. And I'd just like you to really realize what an important value that communication has. So that's really all I have to say, but what I saw in the GIS presentation was actually frightening to me. The power of government. I was at a state convention this past weekend. There was a gentleman there who is a naturalized citizen. He's from Cuba. In Cuba, where code enforcement has gone, every block has a code enforcement officer. That code enforcement officer watches who comes in and out of their house. Let's just really be careful about the protection of property. It's important. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have something for Linda. Linda, I do believe in private property rights. Guaranteed. And I certainly believe in this. I'm going to support Mr. Dana Jones with this conditional use permit. But on the other hand, too, I'd like to say something. If you didn't have laws, and let's say if you had a smaller lot, you know, what you do on your lot directly affects the price of your next door neighbor's lot. Let's say if they had a hog farm right next to your house, would you like that?
Well,
the smell and all that?
I believe that is the private property's owner's rights. Now, if they had a meth establishment in their home, I believe that it is lawful to stop that. That is harmful to the person next door. That I truly believe that. But I think that we have to stop taking federal money and make our own decisions on a local level. And I think that is the interaction between the individual citizens and the county. George Tillman. He has attested that, so is Judy Jones. It did happen. A promise has been made and not kept. Okay, and then Forrest, I have heard you in the county commission speak about the heavy truck traffic out there, and it has been a note of grave concern. And you have said something must be done. And you have talked about rerouting the traffic and how that needs to be done. So what we have is a specific amount currently. You need to look at the future, adding more light industrial. Issues need to be addressed, not in hindsight, but looking forward. I just hear your voice in my mind addressing the issue. And so I would ask you to remember that. The traffic and the toll it takes on the roads. We have a country road. I know the toll that occurs from heavy truck traffic. So I ask you all to consider that. But mostly, I would ask you to weigh heavily that petition because you do serve the people. Government is put in place to protect private property rights. Otherwise, we have no need for government. Government is put in place to protect private property rights. So please weigh your decision very heavily, and please don't just snap to a yes or no. Please use your heart and soul in this one, please. Thank you.
Take a question from me, Ms. Bergeron.
Yes.
We've heard a lot from you over time, protecting the private property rights. I'm absolutely amazed that you would come up and suggest that you're opposed to this property owner developing his property as he wants to do. It seems totally opposite to all the issues that you have brought forward to us time and time again.
Did I not just state that a promise has been made and not kept? That needs to be considered. They promised that they would use that property, build a barn on it,
Well, property,
and use it as a buffer zone, and they promised it to the county commissioners.
but that doesn't preclude them changing their mind. I did not hear a promise.
Well,
I did not hear it as a condition of the zone change.
put it on YouTube for you.
Well, could you ask Mr. Tillman, because he was there. So if you would ask him to address that,
I was here too.
and
When we approved the first zone change.
and there was opposition at the time. I remember the opposition.
Exactly right.
I'll
But I did
argue
not
with her.
hear, and nor did I see in the zone change document a requirement that the other land, that property owner couldn't change his mind and sell his land.
Okay, ma'am.
My name is George Tillman. I live at 9075 Mohican Road. As you gentlemen are well aware, I'm on the Planning and Zoning Committee. I need to make an apology to Dave Phillips for voting to approve this at our last meeting. And it came to me sitting just now, trying to reconcile why would I allow this to continue when I had forgotten the fact that, and I believe it was Larry Forsberg's property, which is to the south of this property, that I think FT Investments purchased. And we had a zoning change to make that property light industrial. If my memory serves me, at that time, Mr. Scogan came and said that essentially he would never sell this particular piece of property in order to keep the light industrial separate from the residential. Obviously, something has changed. They sold it at the investments, and now Mr. Phillips is looking at light industrial next to him. Assurances that light industrial will not affect residential properties, I know to be untrue. I was a former employee at Interflex Energy Systems up on Renana, and that was zoned light industrial, and they had 24-hour operations, lights, trucks coming in and going, and the neighbors across the way, even those folks know that it impacted their way of life. So it looks to me like this piece of property was to be a buffer between the light industrial and the residential. If you change that zoning on this piece of property now, those two are adjacent, side by side. One of the justifications for that, the previous zone change was that light industrial allowed a residential property to exist, which Mr. Forsberg lived in at that time. And so they changed that property, then he lived there. He sold that property, and it's obviously going to be developed as a light industrial complex. And there is no buffer zone when this goes through between that property and the residences on this road. And so I think maybe I made a mistake, and I'd like to speak for, again, a public apology to Mr. Dave Phillips. And I think hindsight being 20/20, I think I would have voted differently. Don't know that the outcome would have been any different, but I owe him that at least. Thank you.
Protecting the private property rights. I'm absolutely amazed that you would come up and suggest that you're opposed to this property owner developing his property as he wants to do. It seems totally opposite to all the issues that you have brought forward to us time and time and time again.
Did I not just state that a promise has been made and not
It's
kept?
right out there close, but I will tell you that development is coming, and it's coming that way. There's a road proposed right on the other side of Andy Lane to go all the way out there. I mean, it's coming, and maybe this one piece can be a buffer zone for a while, and all those and not change it now. But I will tell you,
What would a buffer zone look like? How would that be defined? What could you do there? What couldn't you do there? Do you have a definition for that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, no, I don't have a direct answer to that, other than when the subdivision, if and when it came forward, I believe through the subdivision agreement, we would have full authority to impose whatever buffer onto that subdivision.
I just have one other comment. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Tom Reeder, and bringing him out tonight wasn't fair, saying.
We didn't hear you.
Further discussion.
Was it fair? Is that what you said?
Excuse me, this is now
I didn't start
our
it.
time. Thank you. Further discussion. We have a motion on the floor to deny the zone change. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed,
No.
motion carries. The zone change is denied. Motion on the floor to deny the zone change. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed,
No.
motion carries. The zone change is.
At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of zone ZC 14-2 to please approach the lectern.
My name is Linda Bergeron. I live at 2352 South Kaufman Avenue. I have deep concern about this process. First of all, when I asked you about what you proposed, Matt, I felt that you were unaware really of what you were asking.
How so?
Because you read it again and then you gave me the paper. And what I'm asking that we hold high esteem toward is the integrity of our system of government. We have the most amazing government in the whole world. It was put together in such a way that it protects property rights, it protects our whole life, actually, and it's amazing. And the more I study it, the more I find how our checks and balances in our system are everywhere. And you all are in a seat of honor. You're in a seat of honor to represent the people. And my biggest, most profound concern here is that we protect the integrity of our system of government. The people came before this Board of County Commissioners. They came with concerns for their property rights. Government is put in place to protect the property rights of citizens. We are nothing without the ownership of property in this country. Countries that do not have ownership of property end up being servants to a tyrant or a king. So I ask that you put highest in your decision-making this evening the very thing that's before you in this whole situation, the integrity of our government. This is out of order. Had the whole people, everyone that signed that petition, come that night to speak, nothing would have been different. You all made a decision. This new evidence is not different than any other case. And when I read Chapter 10, which you noted in your reason for asking for a new hearing to change your vote, Chapter 10 states that the decision of the Board of County Commissioners stand unless there is new evidence that is extremely powerfully new. This new evidence is no different than if every one of those petitioners came that same night, spent all your time and spoke individually. I find no difference in the evidence. Now, in studying this more carefully, it refers me to Wyoming State Statute 18-5-202. When I read that, that is how the County Commission will handle itself. In a situation where a decision has been made by the County Commissioners, that decision stands for 1 full year unless the applicant goes to the Supreme Court, where it can be changed there. Now, I also called Cindy Hill, because Cindy Hill has been through an extreme amount of litigation, and I respect the woman very, very much, because she stood firm against powerful, powerful opposition. The same thing happened with the Amicable Reuse Board, where the evidence was heard by the people at the slip board. The people spoke against it. There was a decision made. Then came back a petition with new evidence. That petition for new evidence, the slip board allowed restructuring of the Amico area with infrastructure financed by the select board. What we're doing here is creating a precedent in our government, and I don't like it. I want the integrity of our government to stand firm. Our government is being destroyed by powerful special interests. And I'm asking you all to stand firm on your decision for that reason and that reason alone. Because what Cindy Hill told me is the only recourse that I would have would be to sue. Do we want to create that kind of situation for people that come before a board of county commissioners elected by the people? Elected by the people to serve and represent the people? And what I hear here over and over and over again in this rebuttal is the master plan, the master plan. Well, I tell you what, my life has pretty much been turned upside down by government not following a rule of law. I would like to do other things, I really would.
So would I.
But I feel that I'm here to protect the future of my granddaughter. And consider that carefully, because y'all probably have grandchildren. And we want to leave those grandchildren with a system of government that's precious and well preserved. Now, a developer, you know, I respect what Keith Tyler did. I really do. I'm impressed by what he did. But what I see here tonight is our system of government being very gradually check and balance, check by check, being eaten away by grant money. And that was mentioned also. I can get a $5 million grant easier than I can get a $15 million grant. Talking about a road. You know, I respect what Keith Tyler did. You know, that's how the conversations work. We should have people, you know, that can, both sides, be able to approach a board of county commission. It's important. So I'm just asking that you carefully consider what's happened here. It's really not about this land. It's about just making sure we do the right thing with what's been put in your hand, our great system of government. Please, please do the right thing. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Bergeron? Okay, once again, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to ZC 14-2, ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to TA 14-1, please oppose the motion.
Chairman and Commissioners, my name is Linda Bergeron, 2352 South Kaufman Avenue. I did take the liberty of pulling what you're trying to eliminate and put it in a text form.
Is this the same thing we got emailed?
I don't believe I emailed that to you. I did send a letter to, I brought in a letter to Gene Wallace, who was to give that to each of the planning and zoning. I assume so. I'm not sure what you got. Okay, I'd like to make some points. And I am requesting that you do not eliminate the natural expansion doctrine. My point, I guess, under A on the first page, in a use that was lawful when the zoning resolution or any amendment was enacted. When the person purchased their property at any point, the person purchased their property understanding how it was zoned. If it was, as an example, urban agriculture, and they planted and they tilled and they prepared for a lifestyle under urban agriculture, and for some reason through encroachment, heavy encroachment over time of light industrial, if zoning somehow is changed, and Mr. Wallace told me that the person that's in charge of the database at will can change a zoning if they see fit. We stood right here, Mr. Wallace and I, disagreeing over that. So what you need to do is to be very, very cautious of what could occur. We're talking generalities over what you intend as opposed to what's in black and white. I'd like to make an example. I managed rentals for my father over years, and I had a lady in the rental who decided she didn't want to pay the rent anymore, just was going to live there and not pay the rent. I took her to court because I did not have in my rental agreement, it's a very basic, much like this, a gentleman's handshake. You pay the rent, I give you access to my property. Because I didn't have in that rental agreement firm access back into that property, that lady could have lived in that property for the rest of her life until I was able to get a sheriff to serve her notice. So it is very important that what you're saying you're doing is in black and white. If you eliminate what's in black and white here, you are diminishing the rights of a property owner. Now, an individual spends it most, in general, unless you're inheritance or under an unusual circumstance, a person who purchases a property, that is pretty much a lifetime investment for that person. It's very, very important to that person that when they buy a property, as it is zoned, that they can pretty much count on their government allowing them to continue that use. That's why businesses are not thriving in America right now, because people are really concerned. They don't know what their government is going to do. So what's in your authority right now is the very lives of the very hard-working, law-abiding citizens that count on you to make wise and honorable decisions. And what this is saying is, in courts of law around the United States, this has been proven to be a use that is law-abiding, and it does go before courts. And I don't believe that something that might fit your purpose should override the people that you represent. You represent law-abiding citizens in Natrona County. Property owners who are currently having to pay more and more taxes and that is my point. Your oath of office is to the United States Constitution and the Constitution of Wyoming. Your oath of office is not to planning and zoning. Truthfully, planning and zoning was part of Agenda 21, and I know you're aware of that, which came out of the United Nations, a treaty. It's not under our Constitution. It's not under the Wyoming Constitution. I'm asking you to please leave this protection in the zoning code for the citizens. And the office where you have your work sessions, last I looked, the Declaration of Independence is still on the wall. That Declaration of Independence was because of abuses of government. And I'm asking you to, as it begins, to protect the unalienable rights of the citizens of life, liberty, and property. Property is the greatest of all rights. And if we can't protect the property of our citizens, we don't need government. That is the reason government was put in place. So I just appeal to you and hope that you will vote against this request. Thank you very kindly.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have one. Ms. Bergeron, when was Agenda 21 passed by the United Nations?
It was under the first George Bush.
So 1992, I heard that back there.
Yeah.
Then, I don't know how that becomes part of this issue, because...
We are talking.
Well, now, wait a minute. Zoning was passed in this county in 1973. So it can't be part of Agenda 21.
It is. Planning and zoning, HUD, is all part of Agenda 21.
Any other questions?
2352 South Cobb. I have two quick comments, at least. How much of the population does it take to do within 20 days, a referendum to abolish this vote?
I think it's 10%, which is roughly 2,500 signatures for the city of Casper. Is that correct?
10% of the registered voters in the most recent election. And it's not to abolish it, it's to put it on the ballot.
Right.
It's to put it on the ballot
Right.
for the upcoming election. You can still have time to do that.
It'll get its own special election if it actually makes it through the referendum process.
And that's quite expensive, isn't it?
30 grand.
30 grand, and who pays for that?
You do?
Well, I believe that there's two things that should not be taken away from the people for us to remain a free republic, a free constitutional republic. Those two things are our right to vote and our property rights. I go to the city council meetings every time that I possibly can make it to fight for property rights. I think property rights are extremely important. I think our right to vote is beyond extremely important. And to trifle with the vote of the people is not what you were put in office to do. I firmly believe that. So $30,000, that's quite a lot of money to put on the people. So I guess I agree with Councilman Hedquist. Watch how your public officials vote and vote them out if you don't like it. And there is a group, I'm so happy to say, that is actually going to make a spreadsheet of the important votes of the city council. And we'll take that door to door. So hopefully that will help remedy this just a bit. Thank you kindly.
I mean, I just tell you, you guys are scaring the heck out of them when you're talking about getting a bunch of signatures together. So,
Scaring the heck out of who?
yeah, out of the city, I think, because we can't seem to get any petition can't get through. So anyway, I think you're scaring them that's a whole bunch of extra work. So go out and do it. It's okay.
It's okay? Oh, I'm glad I have your permission. That $30,000 is just the kicker there. I'll have to ask them what they think of that also.
Budget's $185 a year, right? It'll be okay.
We've got 5 years to pay for it?
No, the budget's like $185 million a year.
Oh, so we
It'll be okay.
It'll be okay. Well, thank you kindly.
Commissioners and Chairman of the Commission, my name is Linda Bergeron, 2352 South Cochran Avenue in Jasper. I have some comments that I'd like to make. I'd like to know the difference between this resolution and the people abiding by this resolution and the council, the Board of County Commissioners abiding by Wyoming state statute.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, my concern is you are elected by the people. You are a body that represents the people. Their ability to speak to laws that are passed is to go before you, to ask for you to hear their pleas. Most of the time in a county commission, it is about their property rights. And people spend their entire life purchasing and caring for property. The case in point is the new evidence rule. The developers' recourse, according to Wyoming state statute, was to go to the Supreme Court to have it repealed or to wait 1 year. The Wyoming state statute was not followed. What is the difference between you asking us to follow your resolution and you and the requirement of this board to follow Wyoming state statute?
We believe, and at our legal counsel's advice, that we absolutely did
Well, he
follow
said,
Wyoming state statute.
he explained to you what new evidence. I'd like you to go back and look at his explanation. He explained to you what new evidence actually means, and he explains what new evidence means in a court of law. He said that this is not a court of law.
That's right.
Now, if I had the money, I believe over that situation, I could sue you and win. Because in a court of law, he gave you what new evidence means. It has to be substantial and very new to the situation. So I would like you to review what your counsel said. I'm sure that that can be brought up in the record, okay?
Okay. Do you have something else?
I do have a question.
We've been over this territory over and over and over. So
You know what
please
you're
move on.
doing though? This is a public comment section. You should allow people to speak 3 minutes in a public comment section of your meeting. Don't you believe that?
Absolutely, and your 3 minutes are up.
I would like to know who's the timekeeper and how do you know it's 3 minutes?
She starts it when you say, Mr. Chairman, and you heard the beeper go off.
And we do
And
pause
it's
it when the
electronic.
commissioners are speaking, so that it's not using up your 3 minutes, so.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we've got other time.
Well, but the issue about the new evidence is.
See, problems are already starting on this.
It's obvious we disagreed, we agreed to disagree, and we're just simply not going to go there. So if you have something else to offer, please do.
Okay. I would just say that the people do have a right to speak, and they can use the public legal notices in the newspaper and start replying to them. And that will be a matter of public record, and their comments will be, however lengthy, in the public record. We will, if you will abuse this privilege of a 3-minute time, we will have to use that, and we will have to train the people to use that. And also, there is the ability in the agenda to speak and have a written letter in the agenda if it gets posted in time. And we will have to defend our right as citizens of a free republic, a constitutional republic with freedoms. We will have to use those avenues. Thank you very much. Appreciate the extra time.
Are there any other public comments?
Linda Bergeron, 2352 South Kaufman Avenue. I have several questions concerning this rehearing. First of all, you cited a statute. Could you recite that again?
Chapter 10, Section 1P of the zoning resolution.
So that's not a statute, it's just a zoning resolution?
Uh-huh.
That's correct. It's a Section 1P of the zoning resolution.
Okay, how did this process occur? Did you just spoke before the work session and asked to bring it up, or?
No, Keith Tyler gave me a call, and I visited with him, and we had a conversation, and in that conversation, some changes were offered, and at that point, I approached Bill, and we talked about how the process moved forward with the reopening.
Okay, thank you. Another question that I have is, as I heard what you said when you made the motion, I only heard ZC 14002.
Let have a copy of the resolution. Or the amendment.
So it's only 002, it's not CZ 12001. Is that correct?
It's both online.
Get your shit together, boys.
I looked myself, but my computer's lost it, dropped. Could I have this, or could you email me a copy of this draft?
You can have that.
And you have a copy of the agenda?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it's on there too.
But when he stated it, he didn't say the second item. He only stated the first. And in this draft, it only says the first. That's my
Overturn it.
question. And you only voted on the first.
Further questions? Further questions?
I'd like an answer to my question.
And what was your question?
When Matt Keating brought forward the motion, he only mentioned in the motion and on his page, CDC 14002. Is that the complete motion?
I believe that is correct, and I am thumbing through. When I started something that I just reviewed a few minutes ago.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think there's just a misprint on the agenda. That was a DC 12 would have been a zone change application from 2012. So the only thing that was printed for the motion for Mr. Keating was the 14.02.
Okay, so that's what they voted on, correct? Okay. And then as far as can I go on, or are you still?
Yes, continue.
Okay. As far as when this proposed change will be available, I'm not understanding the process here.
We're understanding there will be a new staff report developed.
Needs to go back to planning and zoning and then back up.
Coincident with the filing of the budget, or the rehearing, the formal advertising of the rehearing, and that will be available at that time.
And then there's 14 days after that before the actual hearing.
Correct.
Okay, and will this halt any future process until this hearing?
There's no process that's going on right now.
Okay. Okay, nothing changed.
This will reopen the process that was closed last week.
Okay, and when you send out your notices,
Yes.
how is that worded? Is that worded saying new evidence? Does that tell the public what the evidence is?
There will be
Those people
notification.
notified.
That's right. People will be notified that there will be a new hearing to discuss only new evidence on a meeting to occur in these facilities on the 15th of July.
And what
I
I know,
presume that there will also be a reference as to where the staff report is.
perfect. Thank you very kindly. Yes.
Okay? Further, individuals would like to address the commission. Hearing none, at this time I will turn the